Jesse G in the house. Your Minnesota Wild general manager and vice president of hockey ops, Bill Guerin, joins us to talk dogs, contracts, hockey, and yes, maybe a little bit of chirping. As always, we're created by New Voice Studios, brought to you by SotaStick, presented by Talk North, Greenbelt, Livea, Royal Credit Union, and Jim Beam. This is season 6, episode 260.
At Jim Beam, they know the importance of tradition, like chanting, "Let's play hockey" prior to the start of each game, or playing the state of hockey anthem after a Wild win. This season, raise one to your fan family with a bourbon that invites us all to come as friends and leave as family. Jim Beam Bourbon Whiskey, the official bourbon whiskey partner of the Minnesota Wild and XL Energy Center. Drink smart. Jim Beam Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. 40% alcohol by volume. Copyright 2021. James B. Beam Distilling Company, Incorporated, Claremont, Kentucky.
Green Bay stinks, and we're going top titty 2x4. That's right. SotaStick has your best slogan t-shirts to support your favorite Minnesota sports team. You've got the Fishing Club shirts, the Northland shirts, Duck Hockey, whatever you could imagine, SotaStick has it, and they've got their customizable options for jerseys as well. Don't forget to toss down Bardown Beauties at checkout for 15% off. As always, SotaStick.com has all the collections you want, so what are you waiting for? Check out SotaStick.com. Hello, everybody. What's up? We're back. Bardown Beauties, episode 260. Huge episode today. Joining us a little bit later, Bill Guerin. We'll talk all Minnesota Wild stuff with him. We'll probably touch on Four Nations and maybe just have a little fun as we tend to do. I'm Jessi Pierce. She's Kirsten Kroll. I am rocking the Team USA jersey, Kirsten, because back-to-back gold medals at the World Junior Championships. Team USA defeating Finland last night 4-3 in overtime. Teddy Stiga with the breakaway in that 3-on-3 overtime. Just, gosh, I freaking love it. I love it. I mean, the US team was hands down one of the best teams in the tournament. I mean, and I don't even say that biasly. Like, they were so fast. They had everything going for them. You got Trey Augustine in net. So, I mean, from top to bottom, just a fantastic showing for Team USA. First ever back-to-back gold medals for them at the World Juniors. Just, oh, I love it.
I mean, in what better fashion than to clinch a gold medal in the way that USA Hockey did? And not to mention, you talk about how stacked the USA roster is. Talk about the coaching staff as well. Bravo. Brett Larson, David Carl, NCHC represent.
I keep waiting. When do you think David Carl's going to get that pull up into the NHL? He obviously won
after this season, hands down. There's no way.
Do you think that's of interest of him though? Right? Like, because there are certain players that let me finish my goddamn question.
Sorry, you wanted an answer. I gave you my immediate answer. Continue.
This is true. But he wins a national championship with Denver last year. He's done amazing things for the Pioneers program. He's done really great things with Team USA. I mean, he has that way to unlock that young talent. And he's only like 35 years old too.
He's young.
Like, I think he's in his 30s. So
not to mention he's won multiple national championships with Denver.
Right.
Not even just last year.
Yeah, exactly. What makes you so confident that he would want to do that? Because you are around the NCHC a lot. That's kind of your other home base in the college territory. What makes you confident that David Carl, or is it just something that you really want to see?
Well, I mean, if you're a coach in the NCHC, it's arguably been, and this is a controversial take, I know that there's other top programs that are not in the NCHC, but NCHC has been like a top tier. I'm ignoring you. NCHC has been a top tier conference stacked with some of the best players in all of college hockey. But aside from that, the best coaches. You've seen a number of coaches go from NCHC to the NHL, like talking about Jim Montgomery, for example, as one. Sandlin, he's had NHL teams knocking on his door. You've seen North Dakota. They've had a number of coaches come through who have gone on to the NHL. So I feel it's almost like a league too, where it's almost like not developmental. That's not the right word to say, but it's kind of that last step before you move on. And especially when you look at David Carl, and he's so young as a coach, and he's seemingly accomplished everything he can, not only in college, but also when you look at what he's done with Team USA too for World Juniors, it just seems like NHL is the next logical step for him.
He can go back to Sandlin because I believe the NHL isn't something that's of interest of him. So I wonder kind of what David Carl's mindset is on that, because it seems weird to think like, well, of course he wants to go to the NHL. He wants to not everybody does, right? Sometimes there's more job security. Plus, there's the family situations that I'm sure arise as well. Maybe he really likes the college level. And there's nothing wrong with that because you certainly make
No.
a good living being a college hockey coach.
But going back
And
to Sandlin, I remember he had told me like 5 years ago because I had asked him about NHL and he had always said like if it was the right opportunity. So maybe
sure.
for Carl, it's the same thing. It just has to be the right opportunity.
And you get to be choosy and you get to be picky when it comes to that, right? So, I mean, that's something that he's afforded himself at this juncture. I just think it'd be, yeah, it's scary territory getting up into the big leagues. You never know when you're going to get fired. It's a whole new, I mean, granted, I suppose that could happen at college level as
That
well,
is
but
true, but I am confident he would have a safe landing spot anywhere he so chooses after the success he has had.
yeah. Like I mentioned, we'll talk a little bit more World Juniors with Bill Guerin. We'll also probably talk some in as well, but I do want to recap the Wild's 2-game road trip. Huge 4 points on the road. I have such a love-hate relationship. We talked about it last week. They're so good on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And yet that doesn't seem to translate as well at home. Like they're stealing points. They're really good against the East too. They're crushing Eastern team, not crushing, but they're performing even better against the best Eastern Conference teams than they have against the West, which isn't great when you're at home against St. Louis this week and Colorado this week, which are some big points to grab in the Central Division race here. I I don't know how to feel about it because if you were to ask me point blank, Kirsten, would you rather have a good road team or a good home team? I would usually say a good road team. But that's because in my head, it's always been a given that the Minnesota Wild are a good home team. So I've never had to
Mm-hmm.
question like their prowess at home. And this year it's not the case.
And I want to know why that is so badly. Because, yeah, I mean, they say it and there's something to it in every sport home field, home ice advantage.
Yeah.
And the Wild have not had that. It's not for a lack of fans in the building, for more of like the opposing teams taking over their building. I don't know what it is. I like literally am kind of just at a loss when I think about it. I'm like, what is it about home as opposed to the road? I don't
I
want to
mean,
say like distractions or anything. 'Cause it's like you still have those when you're on the road too.
well, and Jacques Lemire, though, was a firm believer of that. Like during the playoffs, he wouldn't let the players stay at home. He wanted them at the St. Paul Hotel to eliminate distractions, which again, it's a whole other bag of worms that I am not going to open up
Mhm.
about. I mean, and I think there is a closeness that you form when you're on the road with your teammates and all you have is to focus on hockey. It's something that Jake Middleton said when we asked him about the heavy road schedule to kick off the year, right? And again, it seemed to have worked. They've been winning games on the road ever since. It's just very peculiar to me. I mean, naturally, your heart goes to the fans. Like you have people that are spending their money to watch you win at home. And they're not maybe getting that positive outcome that they want to get. They're still seeing, the Wild play hockey and there's all that excitement. And sometimes it's more than the outcome, but it's just very interesting. And I go back, like Connor Bedard said for the Winter Classic when they got trounced by St. Louis this year on New Year's Eve, which was one of the lowest viewed Winter Classics ever.
Under a
Partially, I would
million.
imagine. Yeah, I would imagine too. I had no idea it was on New Year's Eve, and I
I
work for the
didn't either.
NHL, right?
I
And
saw a
early on New Year's Eve.
commercial that they did at like I'm assuming over the summer at Media Day when they had a player from each team come together. I saw the commercial playing where it's like New Year's Eve, Winter Classic from invite from Connor Bedard. I was like, New Year's Eve? Like, is there something going on the night before the game actually happens?
Yeah,
It's always been New Year's Day.
always New
Granted,
Year's
I
Day.
understand the college football playoff expansion. I get that probably played a big factor in why they moved it to New Year's Eve to try to gain non-hockey fans and it bring them into the
Sure.
NHL. But regardless, don't have several other NHL teams playing at the exact same time during the Winter Classic. Have the Winter Classic be the only game happening that day.
You lose your luster. Like that was kind of the significance. It's New Year's Day. You watch them play outside. You kick off, and it's the game. It's your game that you have for the day. Um, yeah, I don't mind it being on New Year's Eve. I really don't. I guess that's
Mm-hmm.
not a problem for me. And I suppose they did it early enough. I had no freaking idea. Like
No.
I was heading down to the X for the Wilds game. My mom was like, "Oh, so you're not going to watch the Winter Classic?" I'm like, "Well, tomorrow I might." Yeah. And she's like, "It's on like now." And I was like, "Oh, not only that. So not only was there, I think, a lack of communication surrounding that change or even why they did that, the fact that it was St. Louis and Chicago doesn't do a heck of a whole lot for anybody this season in particular. I mean, yes, Connor Bedard is Connor Bedard, but it just you have two not good teams playing against each other. Two teams that have been doing this every other year, it feels like, as well, right? Like, I mean, this is like the sixth or seventh for Chicago, and St. Louis has been in a number of them
I
themselves.
mean,
So,
St. Louis was just in the one in
the,
2021.
right,
They were really
exactly.
starved for a Winter Classic, let me tell you, folks.
I mean, they won that one too, so that's not great.
Doesn't matter. We don't
It
need to
doesn't.
rehash old wounds. I'm just stating the format that we
Um,
had recently.
but going back to that, what Connor Bedard said after, again, a shutout loss to St. Louis, he was like, "It's embarrassing. If I were the fans, I'd be mad." So you do. I mean, you want to win at home in order, full circle, bring it all back. You want to win at home because you don't want your fans leaving disappointed. You don't want to get booed at home, and I think Wild fans are usually okay at not booing in most situations because the
Wolves fans,
Wild.
however, Anthony Edwards would like to have a word. He knows
Whew,
about fans booing at home.
yeah, but how are they so bad?
I don't know. They fell from grace. It's because they
You
got
know,
rid of Cat. That's what it is. They got rid of Cat, and this ship has sunk.
it's even more remarkable that Cat is having this season. Like, where was this, man? Like, where has this been? But he's given the right opportunities. I can't believe that Ant dropped like 53 points the other night and they still lost.
He said, "I'll do it my damn self." And Cat, I'm still mourning. I'm grieving still. It's too soon.
I mean, it's Ant's team. I've always been a privy to that, but that's all right. We love it. Speaking of people's teams, this is more than Kirill Kaprizov's team, it would appear. I can't wait. Again, we're going to be talking to Bill Guerin. I can't wait to talk about this with him. You look at last year, and last year, the biggest, I don't want to say excuse, but you could use it as such, was the injuries, the constant slew of injuries to top players, right? For lengthy periods of time. And that was a big reason that the Minnesota Wild struggled, why they couldn't get their feet under them, yada, yada, right? You didn't have the right guys stepping up. You were missing your key players. This year hasn't been all that different in regard to injuries, right? Jules Eriksson has been out a number of times for extended period. We're now looking at Jared Spurgeon, who's still probably a ways off before returning. Kirill Kaprizov, we don't know what's up with him. Again, hopefully Bill Guerin tells us here in the next segment. You've had Matt Zuccarello out for a period of time. You've had some big Brodin, another guy. You've had similar injuries. What would your assessment? What do you think is different about this team? And again, I'm going to ask Bill this directly, but I would like to see if we are. I don't know if I have an answer for it. Like, is it just a matter of guys wanting to really step up? Because I'm sure they wanted to do that last year too.
It's really hard for me to say. And I think the only people that can really answer that are the people inside the locker room. Sorry, I had to clear my throat in order to continue my thought, unless I wanted to sound like a boy going through puberty. Anyways, first, I really want to say thank God Jared Spurgeon's injury is not worse than it looked. I thought that looked so bad. So when I found out he was like week to week, still expected at least minimum 3 weeks out still, I was amazed, but I was like, thank God. Like that was the best possible news you could get coming out of that outcome. But no, going back to what I think is different, I don't know. The only thing that I can really attribute it to, I feel like John Hines has a lot to do with it. I think the
Yeah.
team has, not that they didn't buy into Dean Evison. I just think maybe he had done all he could do for the Wild. But I think whatever John Hines is doing, I just think that breathed new life into the team.
It is. It's got to be a factor. It's hard to not say it is, but it is. It just find it. I was thinking about this the other night. I'm like, what is different? Because it, even from last year to this year, it's largely the same team. It's
Mm-hmm.
nothing different there. And granted, I'm sure Philip Gustafson is a huge part in that, like because
For
you're
sure.
getting the good goaltending, so you can lean on that. But even Gus was hurt for a period of time too, right? Again, similar
Mm-hmm.
to last year, but I don't know. It's interesting to think about. Like, you're returning the same guys, you're returning kind of down the same injury trajectory, and yet Minnesota's still managing to stay afloat and even above afloat a little bit. They're hopping on that Titanic door.
Grit
Pushing
first, baby.
grit first. Okay.
Next man up mentality.
Let's just get it out now. I don't love the hard chain that they give out.
I like it better than what a lot of other teams around the league do.
I don't know what I would do, I guess. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I like the chain. I always
What
like the
about the
hat thing.
chain offends you?
I think that just says hard.
Oh,
I don't know. I
okay.
I don't
What do
know,
you
and it
want
just
it to say?
I haven't figured that out yet.
Grit?
Maybe. No, God, no. None of those, not a synonym or an adjective for like hardworking. Like it just feels too young child. Like, I don't know. I don't think it needs to say anything. Like usually I like when they
So
give
you're
out
gonna
like
have
the
a
helmet or
blank
the hat.
chain.
I don't want the chain. I want to discard all of it.
Maybe they had what, the Viking hat before?
Yeah, I like the hats. I
But
think I
maybe
like the
they needed to
hats.
change it up. Maybe it was the Viking hat, getting rid of
Somebody had
that. That
lice
was the bad
and
juju. So they needed to bring new life into the locker rooms. Now it's the hard chain. Maybe the factor we've been looking for this whole time is the hard chain. That is the difference
see, it
maker
just
with
sounds
this
ridiculous
team.
even when you say it, like the hard chain. Like I don't like it.
That is the X factor here.
It's close to giving me the ick, I think. I don't know why.
Honestly, it makes me happy you're so offended by it.
I am.
I
The
could care
more I
less.
see
I'm
it,
indifferent.
the more I'm just kind of bothered by it. I'm like, I don't like that. Not that they care about my opinion one iota,
They don't.
but no. But you know who does care about my opinion? Bill Guerin. Just
Should I
kidding.
ask Bill Guerin what he thinks about McDavid and Dreisaitl's contracts?
You should. Let's see what he says.
I think I should.
I think you should just ask
I think
him,
I'm
like,
going
hey,
to.
here's the problem. That was going to be my other kickoff, maybe. Like, hey, I know what the problem with Draisaitl and McDavid is? They're getting paid all the money. And Edmonton will never win a Stanley Cup. I mark my words, Edmonton will not win a Stanley Cup with both of them on the roster.
I don't think
Yeah.
McDavid also finishes his career in Edmonton. Where does he go
I don't know.
next?
He feels like a Sidney Crosby where he's just too loyal. You
I don't
know?
know. His wife decorated their home really nice too, so maybe that's another factor. They don't want to leave.
Yeesh. Did you see that Fleury got Crosby
No,
with
I
a
did
prank?
not.
So when they were in Raleigh facing the Hurricanes, Pittsburgh was also in town because they were facing the Canes the next day. Apparently, some Penguins got the key to Marc-Andre Fleury's room while he was at practice, I believe, and they rearranged some things in his room, which was a prank that Fleury had done once upon a time back in the day during the Winter Classic. Road to the Winter Classic 24/7. You can go view that. And then Fleury searched and searched for um, Crosby's bag because he was sitting right next to their bags because in Raleigh the scratched goal or excuse me the backup goalie sits like in a tunnel. They're not on the bench because there's not enough
Yeah.
room or something. And he put Vaseline on Crosby's visor, uh, undid his or did something with the skate laces. Shout out to Michael Russo on the Athletic. This is where I read that from, by the way. Yeah, he got him. And he said he only did it because he knew Crosby wasn't going to skate the next morning, so it
Well,
wasn't
that
going
was
to
kind
affect
of
too
him
much.
to think
What a
about
nice guy.
the logistics. He's thinking of the people first.
I know. And he keeps, he stymies Ovechkin in DC. We love that rivalry. 20
Hmm.
years of playing against each other. That's crazy.
That's crazy. 20 years, I was
Yeah.
just a child 20 years ago.
Same. Still just a
Just
child.
just a little 8-year-old Roman.
Ugh, love it. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Minnesota Wild General Manager Bill Guerin. Stay tuned. Hey guys, Jessi Pierce here, and I want to introduce you to the new Livea. That's right, Livea is taking weight loss to the next level. You've got the same trusted team of registered dietitians, nutritionists, and registered nurses that you've known and loved, but now they're offering even more tools for success, including the latest GLP-1 medications for qualifying patients. At Livea Weight Control Centers, they do weight loss differently because everyone's needs are unique. Their you-centric approach means a personalized, comprehensive nutrition and lifestyle plan created just for you. For me, I am down more than 40 pounds and I feel better. I look better, and I could not do it without the help and support of my Livea team at the Woodbury Clinic. I've paired their nutritional program with the GLP-1 medications to not only expedite some of my weight loss, but to keep it off. That is the key for me. And you know what, you guys? If you join today, you'll get 25% off Livea's award-winning program. Trust the local experts who've been helping clients lose weight and keep it off for more than 15 years. With 9 convenient Livea centers, there's never been a better time to start. Visit Livea.com or call 855-GO-LIVEA to schedule your free consultation. Don't wait. Let's make this your year to succeed. Livea, we do weight differently. All right, we're back. Very excited to have our favorite general manager ever join us, Mr. Bill Guerin. You were surprised that I was probably being so nice, right? I'm usually very
I
nice.
know. Usually you're a little more abrasive.
Well,
Yeah.
since we're going to go there, I have a direct question for you, Billy, that I need the answer to. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
What type of contract would you give Kirsten and I? We're really good locker room people. We
Mhm.
don't need any no moves or no trades. What kind of contract are we looking at? What numbers are we talking? What's our extension looking like? What do you think?
Oh, you're good locker room people. You're not looking for any no moves, or you are looking for
Nope.
no.
Nope. I know sometimes
Well,
you like to give those out,
then
so
you get more money.
yeah, okay, good. This is good.
Yeah, so you give some flexibility. So
Yeah.
I don't know, good role player contract, couple
Okay.
million each.
Yes.
I'll take it. Sold. Where can I sign right now?
Yeah, I got your contracts right here in the drawer.
Perfect. Speaking of contracts, there are maybe one person, and it's not me in this chat right now, who maybe thinks a couple players on the Edmonton Oilers are overpaid. What do you
Yeah,
think of McDavid and Draisaitl's contracts?
I mean they're appropriate for who they. I mean, listen, they're two of the five best players in the game, and I think when you look at it, like what they do and what they mean to the team, and what honestly what they do in the league every single year. And hey, look, it's all related to to revenues and stuff like that. So I don't think they're overpaid whatsoever. Like I said, I think they're definitely appropriate. I think Jesse's nuts.
Jesse, the floor is yours.
For for the record, I think that they just needed to spread some of the love out. I don't see the Edmonton Oilers winning.
That's easy to say from you sitting in your seat, but when you're oh yeah, you can spread the love out, but that means that those players you're going to spread them out to other teams.
I guess.
So when
All
you're
right.
sitting there saying, "Oh, just do this, just do that,"
Well, eventually, remember we
that
had
easy.
discussed I'm going to be your assistant to the assistant to the assistant general manager. So these are the things I will bring to the table when we
I
have those
think you should
discussions.
reconsider that, Bill.
Yeah, I might.
Speaking of, well, not necessarily speaking of contracts, that would have been a better segue, but I'm not going to go there right now. The Minnesota Wild this year, Billy, we're about halfway through the season and they have overexceeded a lot of what the media's expectations are. I know not what your expectations are, the expectations in their locker room. What's the difference? I know I'm sure you've talked about it at length, but there's something different feeling about this team, despite returning majority of the same guys from last year, even.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's the detail in how the guys operate every single day, how they practice, how they approach the game, and the detail in which they play. And they go to the right places. They do the right things. They make the right sacrifices. And I think one of the biggest things within that is management of the puck, and far less careless than we have been in the past. And I think all that has allowed us to, not it's not just a good start. We've had a really good first half, but it's allowed us to also play well and win games with a lot of adversity, going through a lot of injuries again. So I think that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I had a brain
Do,
fog for a sec,
do
Jesse.
the experts agree?
Jesse?
I'm glad you acknowledge. Yes, the experts do agree. And you brought up the injuries, and Kirsten and I were just talking about this in the segment prior too, because you're dealing with that again. You're without Kaprizov, you're without Spurgeon, you were missing Eki for a while. Gus had his injury, but this year it seems, and not to say that guys weren't rising to the occasion last year, but it doesn't feel as like, oh, doom and gloom. Now we're without Kaprizov because there's that next man up mentality even stronger, or there's that depth. Is that accurate to say, or can you put a finger on exactly why that's changed?
No, I mean, I think it all just goes back to the detail in how you operate and how you play.
Yeah.
Like when you have adversity, whether it's injuries or other things, that's what you can fall back on. If you're having a couple bit star players not playing well or scoring or whatever, you can always fall back on your systems, your detail, your culture. All those things are safety nets for when things aren't going perfectly. So it's more than just going out there and making plays and scoring goals and doing this and doing that. It's a lot deeper.
But I like that. That's the sexy part of the game, is it not? The plays and the goals and the.
Yeah, that's what you guys like. I mean, and it is great, but there's just a lot more to it, you know.
And it's there's a dog making a cameo. Who is
no,
that?
You just made
Please
Kirsten's
introduce
entire
us.
day.
It's Lando. Lando, come here, buddy. Come here.
Gosh, this is what the podcast episode needed today.
Come here.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, hi, buddy. He's like, what the hell's going on?
The best coworker.
Yeah, we had to get him out of the house today. It's been a little cold for walks and stuff for us.
Yeah, my
yeah.
dog too. He has been begging to go outside, and I put on his little winter booties in order to go for like a 15-minute walk. Well, he learned if he kicks hard enough, he can kick the boots off. So
yeah.
We're reassessing. Okay, but anyways, back to hockey a little bit. I'll redirect this train for you, Jessi. We talked about the team game, but keying in on one player in particular who's made a big splash and really stood out, Marco Rossi. How much have you been impressed by him this year?
Yeah, he's been great. You know, he keeps getting better every year. You know, and the one thing about Marco is he does have an edge to his game. He's a quiet kid. He's not the kind of guy that you would say, hey, this kid's kind of pissing everybody off out there, but he does have that edge. And the thing about him is that he spent more time in front of the opposing net than any other of our players. And that's why he's scoring goals. And he's willing to go there and he's willing to stay there. And that's something that, you know, that he's improved on. And he like I said, he just keeps getting better. And you know, he's got great sense too. Like when you see him come in the offensive zone, curl up, find late guys, things like that. His defensive game's, you know, really good. We've always been happy with that. But yeah, the offensive side has really taken off.
He's learned from Eki a little bit to do that whole like duh face once in a while, because I caught him
think
doing
so,
that
yeah.
against. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got that little bit of you know, he's got the jam, like, and that's good. You have to have it because that allows him to go to the front of the net because that's where you need it the most.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of in the net, Philip Gustafson, just how proud are you of the way that he transformed and came off a really tough year last year for him? And he was given this opportunity to kind of bounce back, came into camp in shape and ready to go, and has really taken the hold of his position as the starting goaltender.
Yeah, I mean, I give him a lot of credit. You know, he you know, came under a lot of criticism last year, which I thought was unfair. You know, it's just, but it's a testament to him. It's a good sign that, you know, he's got some resiliency and he put the time in to get better over the summer. And, you know, he's been playing fantastic. It's been, you know, a big bounce back for him.
Is that tough for you to see too, knowing that Marc-Andre Fleury, this is his last year, as he tells us, and we had Marc-Andre on the podcast a couple weeks back, and he said, of course it's tough, but he's got that big plastered smile and whatnot. I mean, is that what makes Flowers so special? Is he's a guy that can handle that situation appropriately, right? Because of course he wants to be playing, of course he wants to be getting in, and he's getting his time, but it's Gus's net right now.
Yeah, I mean, Flowers, you know, he's been around this game a long time, and you know, it's about winning. It's about winning every single night. And you know what? We know that Flower can give us a chance to win. He knows that. Everybody knows that. But Gus has been so good this year that we've really been rolling with him. And but I know Flower understands that. But you know what? In the end, your competitiveness, you know, comes out, and you want to, you know, no matter how old or young you are, you want to be the guy. And, you know, that doesn't stop because you're 40 years old. You still have that in you. So, but yeah, I mean, look, he's a great teammate. That's why people in this game love him. And he's a good person. So he's never going to let that get in the way of, you know, how he handles himself every single day. He is who he is. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Fleury is going to prank you before the season's up? Like as the season ticks on, are you starting to get a little more and more nervous?
No, I hope not. If he's smart, he won't.
Did you get him back?
I'm not too bad myself.
Okay. Were you a prankster back in the day? I mean, I know you were
a little bit, not crazy. he puts a lot of time and effort in. On a smaller scale, but I can't be spiteful.
Yeah.
Given
What's
the
your best
opportunity, you could.
Yeah, I mean, don't. Yeah, you just got to be careful.
Fascinating. This
Yeah.
is interesting. I like this. I like
Yeah,
that a lot.
he's a pro though. He's good at it. I mean, he puts a lot of thought, time, and effort into that.
I still love the hanging the clothes from the rafters bit. Like that
You know,
was
that's one too. Honestly, I always saw it up there, and I'm like, how the hell? How did he do that?
yeah.
Or who did he get to go up there and do that? But I don't know. That's why it's special.
He's got friends and people everywhere.
Friends in high places.
Yes.
That's all you need. We'd be remiss to not ask, is there an update on Kirill Kaprizov and or Jared Spurgeon as of right now?
Yeah, I mean, Kirill's still day to day. Spurgeon's still week to week. He's God, I don't even know, a week into the injury. So yeah, that's really all I can give you. It's
Has Kirill skated yet?
No.
We tried. But that's all. That was those were my only hard-hitting questions.
Those are good questions. Honestly, I just don't have great updates for you. That's it.
I can appreciate that. But then let's talk a little bit more fun stuff, because that's also what we do here at Bardown Beauties. Is Zuccarello's lower body injury the worst hockey injury you could think of to ever happen?
It's no, but it's a bad one.
It's a bad one, right?
Bad one. Yeah, it's not the worst you could ever see, but that's not a good one.
I've never even done research. Has that happened? I mean, I imagine it's had to have happened throughout the course of time.
Oh yeah.
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 Oh.
Yeah.
That can't be great.
Yikes. Well, going back to talking about dogs, let's talk about our furry friends again for a second. If you could be a dog, what kind of dog would you want to be?
Oh man. I'd be Lando. I'd be my dog. He's a Bernese Mountain Dog, Great Pyrenees mix, but I'd be him because he is the most spoiled dog I've ever seen in my life.
It sounded like he was getting a little feisty with you for a minute in the interview because you stopped giving him attention.
I have the door to my office shut, and he wants to get out and explore. He likes to go here, spend a lot of time in the kitchen here. There's bacon and a lot of other good stuff down there. So, but I would definitely want to be him. That's for sure.
But what about the grand puppies? Because I know your kiddos have dogs too, right? They got to be pretty spoiled as well.
Yeah, they're pretty spoiled too. My daughter Lexi has Wally, who's a 10-pound miniature long-haired dachshund, and he's the toughest one of the bunch. And then my daughter Grace and her boyfriend Luke, they have Dozer. He's a 5-month-old Newfoundland, and he's like 60 pounds now.
Oh my god.
He's and him and Lando get together, and it's like battle royal. They're just wrestling, and they love each other. It's actually hilarious, and yeah, they're best buds.
Oh, that's too fun.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I love that I love Lando popping out to practices all the time, or just roaming.
Yeah, we have to get him out. He needed a field trip.
We have a couple fan questions too before we let you go. From Derek F. How do you feel that David Juracek is progressing in Iowa? And are you happy with what you've seen so far? Is there anyone else in Iowa who is really impressing coaches or staff down there?
Yeah, I mean, David's done great. He's exactly where he should be right now. I think just playing big minutes, big opportunities, and a lot of responsibility for a 21-year-old. And I just think that's important. I think, I'm very happy with him. Carson Lambos has really taken a step. That's why he got the call up last time. We've got a lot of guys playing well. It's kind of, it's been an up and down season. It's been tough to find consistency in Iowa, but I know the guys work hard. We have a lot of their senior players up here right now, which is always tough. But very happy with what's going on.
Another fan submitted question from fans, Mark and Nicole. They want to know how you like your Nike Dunks that you were given.
Oh yeah, they're the best. They make me faster.
They're the green and red ones that I saw you wearing that one day, right?
They're pretty sweet. I like them. Yeah, they're great. That was a nice gift.
Oh, so sweet.
Yeah.
Back to Iowa, huge Wild fan wants to know, how do you feel about the first half of Iowa's season and the development of defensive prospects so far? So
Yeah, like I said, it's it's been up and down. Tough to get consistency, and a lot of that has to do with when we get depleted with injuries, they get depleted with players, and there's constant movement. Like there's not a lot of consistency in their team, so things are always changing, and it's tough to be consistent in your game. But I'm very happy with what they're doing down there. They work their tails off. I think the defensive prospects are making strides every weekend, so it's good to see.
With Yurchek, and I know we kind of talked about it when you guys initially got him, was he more of like a for the future type signing? Did you see? I mean, or it wasn't necessarily let's get him so he can help immediately and help now. Was that kind of what your vision was with him?
Yeah, but I mean, he could help us right now. There's no doubt he can play. Like I mean, he's played. I don't know how many NHL games, but more than just a handful. But I think what my thought process was is that there's a lot for him to learn, going from team to team as a young player. Different teams have different styles, systems, expectations. Like I talked to you about the detail. Those are all things that he has to learn how to do. And I just want to make sure that, like, when he comes to Minnesota and he's playing games, that we put him in a position to succeed and not just kind of throw him to the wolves and say, hey, figure it out. We want to make sure he's ready.
Another question from Libby B. What stood out most about Zeev Buium's game during World Juniors?
Oh man, everything. Like he was dynamite. I don't even. That's a tough question. I mean, what's improved? Like he was the best defenseman in the tournament by far, and I don't know. Like he keeps getting better and better, and he's a winner. That's what I love too. He wins everywhere he goes, and that's, to me, that's the big thing. He knows how to win.
Mm-hmm. He's like Brock Faber without glasses almost, and more winning. Brock Faber
almost
win
NCAA.
Yeah. Well, the way he was just eating up minutes at World Juniors too. Like my gosh, even last night.
Him and Hudson did come off the ice, and we were just talking about it when they paired them up. It was their puck to play with, and it was bad news for Finland.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a great move, and then you got to overtime. One of those two was on the ice all the time,
right?
And then Zeev made that play at the end, which was, I mean, that's a world-class play.
Yeah. Oh, incredible. Just love it. I love the World Juniors, Billy. I love Four Nations. We didn't even get to talk Four Nations, but we'll get you back on again because I love it.
Absolutely.
I think it's so great. I'm going to couple these final two fan questions since they're kind of similar. The first one from David C. being, will the Wild have cap room at the deadline to make trades? And along a similar trajectory, Ethrika wants to know, when you finally get the buyout money off the books, do you have any interest in Nikolai Ehlers or Mitch Marner? Unlikely either will re-up with their clubs, according to his opinion. So kind of a little bit of trade talk, salary cap talk, if you will.
We'd like to get everybody healthy, and then we can start accumulating cap space again. So hopefully that happens, and we can do that. And I'm planning on having cap space. I won't comment on other teams' players like that. Is
that for Bowden? Did I try to get you in a bad
right now?
Sorry, that's Ethrika. That wasn't from me, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
So we know.
Yeah,
okay.
That's fine.
Just like to make that very, very clear.
Yep.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode, you guys. Billy, thank you so much for taking time. I know you're a busy man, but we appreciate checking in. Thank you for having some fun with us as well. Thanks to Lando, more importantly.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's chilling out right now, waiting at the door. Yeah. So thanks for having me on, you guys. Appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks so much. That'll do it. As always, subscribe, rate, like, share. Next week. Bye. Very